Hi friends, welcome back. Today we are just going to learn the new topic in this SAS, and this topic is extremely important because whenever you are working in this SAS, you can't merely complete your work before without using this I would say logic which I'll be explaining you. So let's come here. So what does this topic mean? This topic means like subsetting the data. Subset means creating the smaller part from the huge data. So let me just give you the real life example so that you understand it. Suppose, for example, you have $1 million in your account, and you are just suppose purchasing one car of 200K dollar. Okay, so what would you be doing? You would be mainly transferring 200K to the car dealer, and you will be purchasing the car. So you are just mainly transferring only that amount which is required. You are not transferring complete $1 million to the car dealer and purchasing the car and then asking him, now give me that amount back, whatever is the excess. So saying this seems funny because it is actually funny. So that's what, so same scenario is there with when we are working in any organization with the data as well. In organization, we will be having the huge data. Okay. And we will not be working on complete data always. Okay, so what we will be doing, we will be using only that data for which we are just looking for to get the business insight. Suppose we just want to get the information on the previous 1 year data. We just want to get the sales information in US or China or India. So we will be extracting only that data which is required. Okay, so this kind of task can be done with the help of by learning the subsetting. Okay, and now, what does subsetting means? So, like subsetting can be done two ways because, like previously, we have been seeing that data always consists of the rows and columns. So, subsetting can be done on the basis of the row or column both, and it will just depend on the requirement. But we will have to do the subsetting. And how does subsetting helps us? Subsetting helps us to complete the task quicker. If you just taken your example of the that car, so if you are just mainly transferring only 200K and purchasing your car, so your just task is completed quickly. And if you are just transferring complete $1 million, then asking him just take or take whatever is the cost for the car and then transfer me back, then you will be sitting in this in that showroom only. You will be waiting your return or refund of 800K. So you are just taking too much time as well. Similarly, if you are working as a data analyst or data scientist and you are just taking the unnecessary data, your code, your I would say system will be just taking too much time to process the unnecessary data, which is even not required. Okay. So now let me just go to the folder and let me just show you this data here. So this data is good data to explain. So there can be multiple type of requirements. So suppose you just met manager of the East region and he just asking how many order are there in the East region and like how many type of unique category we are just selling. So what you will just do? So let me, so he just asking for the category and order and the East region. So what we will just first do? So here we just need the data for the East region only. Let me just copy this data and paste it somewhere. And then what you will just do? So here by the row you need to use only this data because you are just working for the East region guy. So over here we are having only around 3K records. And if we are working on complete data, we are having 51K record. So you can just merely sense this that as you have just filtered your data by rows because you need to work on the each region, you have just created the smaller subset and now you can quickly work on this data because it is just smaller. And then what else you need? You need category, because you need to count the categories, and then you need like orders. So like you can just take the order ID, and that's it. So you need only these three information. So when we are working in this SAS, we will be just subsetting our data this way, and then we will work on this data so that we can just create our analysis quickly. Then we can just create pivot table on top of this data this way, and then like in the east region we don't need this. These are the categories, and these are the total order. So we can just say that in each region we just mainly got the uh, 2848 orders, and these are the three categories, and these are the number of orders received in each category. Okay, so that's how we just do the analysis. So now this kind of analysis you may have just noticed. First we just filtered the data by the rows by applying the filter on the east. Then we just wanted to get the information on the count the of the we wanted to get the information on the order count and the categories we are just selling. So we just mainly took only those columns which are required, and then we just kicked out everything. So same thing I'll be explaining you in this SAS. Okay, so now let's go to this SAS. And over here, what do we have? We do have this global superstore data. So this data, like first we will just create this data. So we can just say uh, we will create temp data only. So we will just use the proc import data file equals to this way, and then out equals to sales tbms equals to xlsx, and replace, and then run. So let's wait for it to complete. Yes, dataset has been created. Now, how we can just mainly subset data? So just to work on this data which we have just created, what we need to do, we will be creating the another data, because you can just see in the Excel as well. We just copy data from here, and then we just mainly paste it in the another sheet. So it is another data set created from this data set. So it is the our main data which is just holding all information, and it is the smaller data set. So same way we need to create the another data which is smaller, and which is just having only the information which we require from the this huge data which we have just created uh, over here in the sales table. So how we can do so? So we will just say data, and we can just say east data this way. So we will just give the sensible name. So this way we will be able to understand that this data is of east. And then from where we want to create? We want to create from this data. So we usually say, we just write code this way. We just say set sales. So this way what we are just doing, we are just saying says that read this data with the help of set. SAS will just read this data, and then it will just create the new data with the help of data. Okay, and then we just simply say run. So if we run this code, so what, how this will just work? It will just copy this data into this data completely. Okay, and whereas what requirement we are having? We are having requirement to subset our data by rows and column. So first we will just learn how we can subset our data by the row. Okay, so in that case, what do we have? We do have the like reading selected observation, means record using if and where, reading selected variables using keep and drop, creating multiple dataset. This we will just learn later. Okay, so what does that mean? This means that we can subset data using if or where. Okay, so if you just want to subset our data on the basis of the region variable, so if you just open your data here, you will just see that we are having the variable region. See here. Okay, so we just come here and we just say if region equals to, and we just say east, and we apply semicolon here. So you will just notice that when I just open this data, region is there in the capital, R is there in the capital letter, and everything else is there in the smaller letter. But I have just given the region as a smaller case because SAS is not the case sensitive language. Okay. Whereas whatever value is available in the data, you need to give in the same format as it is available in the data. So you can just see it is available as E capital and AST in smaller. So same way I have just given it this way. So if I just run my code, you will just see that my data has been subsetted for like 2848 uh, rows. Okay. And if we just explore through this way, like scroll to the right, you will just see all records are available here for the east region only. So this way we can just subset our data by the row. Okay. And same way as we have just done this with the help of if, similar way we can just done this with the help of where clause as well. And it will also work same way. Okay. Now question comes in like how many ways we can just subset our data. So we are just going to discuss the same. Okay. So subsetting data, currently what we just did, we just mainly subsetted our data based on the east region only. But suppose we do have the requirement of working on the east and west region. So in that case, what we will just do, we will just write one more logic here. We will just say, suppose if region is east or region equals to west. Okay. And we just run this. So now you will just see we have got more records, and this time we will just see the data for east and west region. And if you just notice here, I have just applied the or here. We will not be using the and, because if I will just apply the and, I will not get even a single record. See, whereas we do have data for east and west, we have just seen that earlier. See, we do have data for east and west. See, okay. So why we are not getting our result if we are using the AND? Because whenever we just apply the AND, so what SAS is just trying to do, it is just trying to apply the filter or trying to check this value and this value in each of the single value, in each single value this way. So which is not the possible. Either this each value will be having the east or north or south or central or west, it can't have the east and west both together. So that's why we just applied the or, because either it will be having the east or it will be having the north or it will be having the central. Okay, so that's why we need to use the or. And now if I just run my code, see, it is just working same way. Similar way, we can just do this task with the help of where clause as well. If I just run this code and I just run over here, so see, we got the same result. And so this way, currently you just saw like we just applied the filter on the multiple values. But what if we just are having like four values this way? So we can't keep doing like this way, and we can't say like north, and we can't say like south. So code will work this way. We will not get any error. This, see, we have just got 17K records. We have not got any error because this logic is 100% correct. But this is not the efficient way of writing the code. When we are having the too much values, so what should we just do? We should just use the in operator. So how we will be just using the in operator? We will be just simply saying in here, and we will be just passing everything this way. So this way it is much clear than the previous option. So see, we are getting the same record. So when you do have multiple values, so what should you just do? You should just use in operator and you can just use it this way. And we can just check it with if as well. See, we haven't got any error and it is working absolutely fine. Okay, so this way we can just subset our data with the help of in operator. And now question comes in, like if in these regions we just want to suppose subset data for furniture. So what we can just do, we can apply one more condition here and we can just say category, category in. If we are having single value, we can still use the in operator, furniture. Okay, now for this region we will just get the furniture records only. See here, in the category we are getting the furniture only, and whereas over here we are getting the east, west, north and south. Okay, so this way you can just keep adding the records as per your requirement and you will be able to subset your data. Okay, so that's what we just did, uh, the subsetting with the help of if and where. And now question comes, like when you just go to the interview, interviewers usually ask that which statement is just good to use, uh, where or if. So if where statement is just good to use because uh, whatever variable, sorry, whenever we are just applying the where clause, it is applied before the PDB creation. So it means that it does not read the even record from the, I would say, into the PDB. Whereas if we just use the if statement, it is just applied after the PDB. So SAS will just read the records for all values, but it will not be writing to the data set. So where clause run faster than the if clause. Okay, so that's the difference between both. Okay, and if you just want to mainly learn about the difference, I'll be just making the videos, or you can just search Google or Chat GPT. What is the difference between if and where in SAS? You will just come to know that. Okay, but where runs faster, and this is the pet question of the interviewers. They usually ask the difference between both. Now we are just done with learning the subsetting by rows. In the next video, we will be just learning the subsetting by column. So let's meet in the next video. Till the time, bye bye, guys.